Summer's around the corner. That means fireworks season is heating up. I'm Arman Rahman, and I talked to local vendors about how the tariffs have affected their business.
Hazy skies and poor air quality across southern Wisconsin. I have the very latest on when air quality conditions will improve.
They're teeing off at TPC Wisconsin for the AmFam Championship. I'm Kyle Pazarski with more.
And that's all coming up on News 3 Now at 6. Good evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Eric Franke. Sarah is off tonight, and we begin with some breaking news from Sun Prairie West High School. The Sun Prairie Police Department is actively investigating alleged criminal activity involving inappropriate relationships with school district staff. Now, according to a press release, the staff members allegedly involved were placed on administrative leave by the school administration pending this investigation. The Sun Prairie School District is cooperating fully with the investigation. Due to the active and sensitive nature of this case, limited information has been released at this time. So far, no arrests have been made. Well, we are exactly a month away now from the 4th of July, and that means fireworks sales are starting to heat up. But this is right after tariffs on China exploded many markets in the U.S. Arman Rahman shows us how the fireworks industry in Wisconsin is faring.
You can't have summer without fireworks, but whether they're small or big, one thing they all have in common in Wisconsin is that they're mostly made in China, which means they're subject to recent tariffs. With fireworks, you have a good idea of what you're getting.
It goes up all at once.
It kind of makes this cool fan effect.
But with President Trump's recent trade war with China,
it's kind of a lot of uncertainty in the industry.
The fuse has run through Jessica Kastner's whole life.
I very vividly remember shooting off little tiny fireworks in our backyard when I was a kid.
She took over Kastner Pyrotechnics, a wholesale distributor of consumer and professional grade fireworks, from her parents.
When April hit, that was kind of when it turned into chaos. We ended up on the container that we had in transit. We missed the 150% tariff by hours.
But Kastner still had to pause her last shipment, and she knows many other retailers who may experience shortages.
I think the whole industry is really crossing their fingers and hoping for an exemption.
Next July is America's 250th anniversary on a Saturday, so demand is expected to increase.
The earlier the better, just to make sure that you can get what you're looking for. For consumer grade product, we've got less than what we normally would have available.
What you looking for today?
Fireworks?
Fireworks? Oh, I think you came to the right place.
Just up 151 in Mineral Point, the owner of Boom Boom Fireworks store says they dodged tariffs.
We ordered all our products prior to that taking effect. We haven't touched any of our prices yet this year. So it could happen, it could not happen. We just go along with the flow.
Both owners say even if tariffs do hit their shipments, it probably won't snuff the spark for firework lovers.
Just to see their faces, honestly, because they get so excited.
It's just really cool to see your customers' dream kind of come together and all of their friends and family cheering for them afterwards.
Reporting in Mineral Point, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Well, the Canadian wildfire smoke will be lingering a bit longer. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington, our first warn forecast.
And those Canadian wildfire smoke is manifesting in what you see right here, right now, live in our Dodgeville Upland Hills Skycam. We can show you the weather across southern Wisconsin as part of our first Warren WeatherCam network. And what you see is that milky white sky. That's that smoke in the upper atmosphere that makes its way down to the surface. Right now, our air quality conditions, according to our latest updates right here, are in the moderate to unhealthy for some. But at times, as that smoke comes down from higher up in the atmosphere, we have seen that our air quality has gone into the unhealthy category at times. And that is really what we're looking at here from now through noon on Thursday. Unhealthy air quality conditions. If you are susceptible to these conditions, I actually have a little conversation going on my Facebook page about is this impacting you? And we have a lot of folks out there that are being impacted by this. You want to limit your outdoor activities. You want to stay indoors, shut the windows and turn the AC on to make sure that you are staying healthy as our air quality remains poor across southern Wisconsin. We can track that as well. We've been tracking this for years now. Some of these Canadian wildfires impacting our weather and impacting our air quality, where you see all the yellow on the screen that stretches really across much of the WISC viewing area. What you'll see as we go into Thursday, going into Friday, winds are going to turn out of the east. And as they turn out of the east, and this wildfire smoke's been coming in from the north and the west, easterly flow, easterly winds will start to bring in some cleaning out of the air. That's why you see less smoke. You see a lot of blue as we go into Thursday, later Thursday going into Friday. So it's certainly good news. Smoky skies aren't holding those temperatures down. We got 72 in Madison, 72 in Janesville, 75 to the west in Bosqueville. Here in Dane County, a lot of 72s, a couple 73s, and I see one 74 degrees out in Cross Plains and Highway 14. Now, planning your evening, I would encourage you again, take it easy if you are going to be outdoors this evening, especially if you are susceptible to these conditions. But overall, even though skies show clear, it's going to be hazy. Coming up in Maine weather, we'll let you know when we can replace the haziness with rain chances again and which day stands the best chance for it. That's coming up.
Thank you. Right now, a woman is in custody in connection with a stabbing that happened last night. Police were sent to Atticus Way at about 11:20, where they found a man with a stab wound to the chest. That man taken to the hospital, released later with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect was arrested without incident for secondary reckless injury. Well, we have received several tips about scams being sent out. Unknown senders are posing as the DMV, asking for money through texts. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to Madison police about the red flags to look for and what to do if you fall victim to the scam.
Transportation did not send out a text message or email regarding unpaid traffic violation.
That's the first thing you will hear when you call the Department of Motor Vehicles here in Madison.
If you receive this message, we encourage you to treat it as any other spam message. Do not click on any links or provide any personal information.
These scam texts have been going around, attempting to convince people that they owe money to the DMV for things like unpaid parking tickets and vehicle registration.
And then it outlines it's like 4 different things that'll happen if you don't renew it. This includes reporting the violation to the DMV database. It threatens suspending your registration as well as your license to drive. And then lastly, it mentions that there may be prosecution if you don't pay the fine immediately.
It's important to know what red flags to look out for. MPD says any agency that's asking for money urgently and upfront is a huge red flag.
When I copied and pasted the contents of the message just into Google and searched it, the first thing that came up was like several articles saying that this was a scam. Also, one thing I looked at was like whatever state administrative code that they had put in there. It didn't look normal to me.
If you fall for the scam, it's important to contact your bank and officials to protect your information as much as possible.
I would encourage you can report it to your bank if you believe that there is fraudulent activity on your accounts. You can also report it to law enforcement. There's also, I believe it's called the Internet Crime Center. You can report it just online to the U.S. government.
I also asked MPD if they knew who was sending these text messages or if a certain demographic is targeted. Right now, they do not know the answer to those questions. Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Well, the first shots of this year's AmFam Championship taking place today for the Pro-Am competition. Our Kyle Pozorski is catching up with some of the pros with how this event brings together people of all skill sets.
Here on day one of the Pro-Am tournament, we caught up with a couple familiar faces of the game, talking about the move here to TPC, Wisconsin, and a little bit about that wildfire smoke.
We're lucky to be out here playing golf, that's for sure.
Veteran of the game, Matt Gogol, is just one of many enjoying the tournament's new home. The 54-year-old from Kansas says the recently renovated and redesigned TPC Wisconsin is something to behold.
But it's just spectacular, and we hate to leave U Ridge because that was really a neat golf course, but this is really special.
Fellow PGA Tour champion Tim O'Neill sharing the same sentiment.
The weather was great today. The course is in awesome shape. Just having a good time with my Pro-Am partners here and just trying to get a couple more reps in this course before the tournament starts on Friday.
Early Wednesday, the tournament's Pro-Am competition began, bringing together the elder pros with the amateurs looking to pick up a thing or two for their own game.
It's really a special occasion.
Dave Werner of West Bend is just one of those coming to play with the pros.
Actually, these guys are so gracious. They literally just spend time getting to know you, but then helping you with some tips. And if you ask them, they'll help, but they're not going to just turn around and say something to you.
He says getting to be around the pros is always a thrill.
When you go up to the putting green and you see people like Bernhard Langer, Vijay Singh, I was in lunch and sitting next to John Daly.
Werner continues that while his personal expectations are low, he and many others understand that it's not about what team has the lowest score at the end of the day, but more about enjoying the game they all love.
I was just happy to be with whoever I was going to be with because they're all special. They're at this level for a reason, so to be able to play with them is really great.
Oh, and as for that wildfire smoke,
well, it doesn't affect the T, it affects your lungs.
Reporting from the AmFam Championship at TPC, Wisconsin, Kyle Pazarski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. The Pro-Am tournament continues tomorrow. However, it is not open to the public. The gates will open to the public Friday for the main event. Full details are at amfamchampionship.com. Well, the tournament will, of course, bring top PGA golf champions to Madison this weekend, but organizers say it'll bring much more than that. The tournament will be held at TPC Wisconsin on the city's north side, as you heard in Kyle's piece, for the first time this year. And hosting approximately 10,000 spectators for each day of the three-day tournament. Officials say we can expect an economic boost across town.
When they book those room nights, they're not just staying in the hotels, but they're eating at the restaurants, they're shopping on State Street. They're providing a ton of economic strength for our community.
From its inception in 2016 through 2024, the AmFam Championship has brought more than $100 million to the local economy. The championship again starts Friday morning. We'll have details on the event and its impacts tonight. Join us for News 3 Now at 10. Well, you can now vote for your favorite people, places, or things to do in Madison Magazine's Best of Madison. This year, there are 5 sections with 150 categories to pick from. Voting runs through June 30th. You can cast one vote in each category. The winners will be revealed in the magazine's October issue, and you can find a full list of the categories at our website, channel3000.com. Still ahead on News 3 Now at 6, how the Madison Fire Department is celebrating National CPR and AED Awareness Week in the community, plus helping people in rural communities get better access to medical care. How a new program starting at UW's medical school looks to make a difference.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
People living in rural areas in Wisconsin disproportionately experience poor health and trouble getting access to medical care. Well, now the UW Medical School is launching a program to change that. Today, the school announced the Orion Initiative. The program will invest in building partnerships between doctors and rural providers. The program's initial goals are primary care physician recruitment, pediatric EMS training, and subspecialty training.
We fully anticipate that these programs will save lives within the first months of operation.
Well, next year, the program will provide 4 full tuition scholarships to students entering the Wisconsin Academy for Rural Medicine program, which trains students committed to improving health for rural communities. People can now reserve an automated external defibrillator, or AED, through the Madison Fire Department starting this week. These AEDs are lightweight and compact, making them easy to use and to transport. And this launch coincides with National CPR and AED Awareness Week, celebrated June 1st through the 7th. You can reserve an AED from the Madison Fire Department. Simply contact their administrative offices. The number is 608-266-4420 or email fire@cityofmadison.com. Now, the AEDs must be returned 3 days after the reservation date. For hands-on experience, you can attend the Madison Fire Department's free upcoming CPR and AED class on June 25th. That's from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It'll be at Fire Station 13. Well, next at 6, on a personal note, we want to share our thoughts and send our love to a former coworker, Carlene Wild. Carlene was a member of our team here from 1998 until 2005. Now, sadly, her husband, Casey Wilson, was killed in a car crash early Monday on Interstate 90 just outside Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Casey and Carlene had a beautiful blended family out in South Dakota. They also shared a love of music. In fact, they had just played in their band, the Barnflies. They played together, and they had just performed last month at Botham Vineyards in Barneveld. Now, in the wake of the tragedy, a GoFundMe page has been established to help the family. Carlene, as well as Casey's surviving children, will be helped by this, so feel free to help if you can. Carlene, a Poinet native, a UW alum, also a Channel 3 alum, as we mentioned. Our thoughts are with her at this difficult time. Well, still ahead, future college students could face a different borrowing and repayment landscape soon. What future borrowers should know. Plus, with Father's Day just around the corner, the National Retail Federation gives their estimate on how much they think consumers will be spending on dad this year. And Alex returns as complete forecasts and a look at the latest air quality numbers across southern Wisconsin.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
The future of some key federal student loan programs is on the line. Aisa Canchola Banez, policy director for the Student Borrower Protection Center, says the nonprofit is receiving borrower questions ranging from where to seek help, as the education department has slashed staff, to what President Trump's massive domestic policy bill has passed in the Republican-led House, what it could mean for them.
This bill will massively eliminate the number of repayment options that borrowers have at their disposal.
Well, legislation currently under discussion in the Senate and the Education Department's budget request propose, among other program cuts, limiting federal student loan repayment plans to just 2 options: capping borrowing, even for professional programs like medical school, and slashing maximum Pell Grants, typically used by low-income undergrads, by about $1,700. Father's Day is June 15th. Dear old dad likely to make out like a bandit this year, according to the National Retail Federation. Spending on Father's Day is expected to reach $24 billion this year. That's a record, and way up from last year's $22.4 billion. Of about 8,200 survey respondents, the average person plans to drop about $200. All that dough will go to things like greeting cards, clothing, and special outings and gift cards. Less than half the respondents are buying for fathers or stepfathers, though. Just over half are buying for husbands, sons, brothers, friends, or grandfathers. Drier conditions today. The wildfire smoke lingering. Alex now with a complete forecast.
And lingering here in our Queen Bee Radio Skycam as part of our first Warren WeatherCam network, where we can show you what's going on outside weather-wise. All that milky white sky and haze that you see in the background, that's that PM 2.5. That is that wildfire smoke that is outside in southern Wisconsin. We've ebbed and flowed in how concentrated the level of PM 2.5, the smoke particles, have been in the atmosphere, enough that an air quality warning remains in effect until noon on Thursday for a good portion of southern Wisconsin. But I do have good news. There is some improvement on the way in the air quality. But up until that point, till noon on Thursday, I don't want you to let your guard down. If you are sensitive to these conditions outside, it's advisable to limit outdoor activities. Come inside the house, shut the windows, maybe turn the AC on so that you have an environment that is free, or at least more free, rather, of these PM 2.5 particles that are in the atmosphere. Good news is, as we look at the smoke near the ground, now what you saw in the Queen Bee Radio Skycam, a lot of that was smoke higher up in the sky, in the upper atmosphere. Near the ground, we still have some smoke making it to the surface for areas that's stretching from Platteville up to Boscoville, Lone Rock, up towards the Dells. We have some pockets where we're seeing some improvement, at least near the ground, but that doesn't mean that the smoke is completely gone. Let's track that smoke near the ground here. That smoke near the ground does continue to erode as we go into Thursday morning, maybe a little bit making it to the ground over towards Jefferson, Janesville, over towards Elkhorn. But as we go a little bit further into the day, it all clears out, and we're going to start to get winds coming out of the east and northeast that's going to push that smoke off towards the south and towards the west, back out into the Great Plains as we head further into Thursday, further into Friday. Now, I also want to point out here, there are other things, other particulates that are in the atmosphere, that are in the air. Trees right now, grass and weeds are all at moderate levels right now. The tree stuff's been bugging me for the past week, so I understand it completely. If pollen or if these smoke particles are bothersome to you, it's not fun stuff. Now, as part of the 3 things you need to know, some good stuff in the forecast here. The haze goes away as we go into Thursday. We could use more raindrops. We could always use more raindrops, and there are a few in the forecast. Friday going on into Saturday, best chances to see the bar there, and Sunday going all the way up to the scattered category. So as we go into the upcoming weekend, after having heavy rainfall and upwards of 3 inches of rain in Janesville. Thanks, Jim, for sending us this weather photo. The best chance for rain is going to be Sunday afternoon with scattered thunderstorms in the forecast. Not expecting those storms to be on the severe side. 50s tonight, and we'll do 70s for high temperatures tomorrow, with temperatures again staying rather pleasant throughout the 10-day forecast. Warming up late next week, turning humid with more storm chances. We'll be right back after this break with some sports.
Well, the UW Whitewater baseball team looking to do something they've only done twice in their program history, and that is win a national championship. Yesterday, they took the first game of a best-of-3 against Messiah, 18-3, leaving them just 1 win away from the title. Warhawks would start the game out strong. Top of the first, 2 on for Whitewater. Andy Thies clears the base paths with a 3-run homer over the right field fence. Warhawks were up 3-0, and the scoring would continue in the second for UW Whitewater, adding 2 more runs. Up 5-0 at this point, and boy, they were not done yet. Whitewater overwhelmed Messiah's bullpen, scoring 19 unanswered runs by the 6th inning. Meanwhile, Whitewater starting pitcher, though, he allowed just 1 hit over his first 5 innings of work. Messiah tried to make it a game later, but it wasn't enough. Whitewater goes on to win, scoring 21 runs, winning their program's 3rd national title, and first since 2014. Meanwhile, Brewers looking to start a new winning streak and avenge last night's loss in Cincinnati to the Reds. Scoreless top 3, Andrew Monasterio hits an RBI single. Crew goes up 1-0. And then we go to the 5th inning, top of the 5th. Jackson Churio with a 2-run bomb. He's going to right field, his 10th of the year. Brewers were up 3-0 at that point. They, too, would pile on the runs. Daz Cameron going yard, the second 2-run homer of the game. That extends the lead to 4, and Isaac Collins put it away in the 9th inning with a 3-run blast. A lot of home run balls in Cincinnati for the Brewers as they take the series with a 9-1 win. And coming up tonight, News 3 Now at 10, our Ellie La Liberte speaks with the Dane County Executive, Melissa Agard, about the $31 million structural deficit, how the county got there, and what it's planning to do. Join us for that story and more tonight. Join us for News 3 Now at 10. Alex is back. We're all concerned about the air quality. Other than that, the weather here has been good.
Pretty nice temperature-wise as well. But the good news is air quality conditions improve as we go into the daytime on Thursday. Pleasant really through the 10-day. Best chance for rain is going to be Sunday night going into early Monday with a cold front, and then later again next week we'll turn on the storm chains.
All right, Alex, thanks. Entertainment Tonight is next, and our next newscast, of course, tonight, News 3 Now at 10, and you can always find us streaming 24/7 at Channel 3000+.